what's called the dark net.
Are you sure this is safe?
Just whatever you do not look at his little brother.
Oh, his little brother?
What are you doing here?
The reason I came to your neck of the face. I mean, there's a face in your neck. I mean, woods. Neck of the woods.
Yeah, I know the trailer will get you hyped up from the way that they're going from the video game world to the internet, and also you can never go wrong with having Never Gonna Give You Up in the background of your music, of your trailer. But, yeah, needless to say, this was another one of those November movies that was a major, major disappointment. Not a bad movie, but definitely not as good as the first movie was. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We are looking at the last 2 weekends of November. We're looking at Thanksgiving weekend, and we're looking at November 30th, because, you know, after Thanksgiving weekend, the studios dump out the stuff they don't think is going to be good. One movie, though, was good, but it was a limited release. The other one, not so much. But before we get to that, we're starting off with the biggest new release of the holiday season, and that was Ralph Breaks the Internet. Taking place 6 years after the events of Wreck-It Ralph and after saving the arcade from Turbo's vengeance, the Sugar Rush arcade cabinet has broken, forcing Ralph and Penelope to travel to the internet via the newly installed Wi-Fi router in Litwack's arcade to retrieve the piece capable of saving the game. And I've said it before, the first Wreck-It Ralph movie is a great film, and I will still stand by that, because it was part of the year where the roles were kind of switched for Disney animated movies, where the Disney Animated Studios movie felt more like a Pixar film, and the Pixar film that year, Brave, was more like a Disney Animation Studios film. Both were good, but Wreck-It Ralph definitely was the better of the two movies, and that's the one that should have won Best Animated Feature and not Brave. I'm still baffled by the fact that Brave won that award, but so obviously, Ralph Breaks the Internet has a lot of hype and anticipation to it, because not only do you have it being a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, it's the second sequel officially in the Disney Animation Studios canon behind The Rescuers Down Under. Keep in mind, Frozen 2 hadn't come out yet, it was still a year away, and it was the most underrated animated, you know, Rescuers Down Under was the most underrated animated film of all time, pretty much. And not only that, you have the same people coming off of the success of Zootopia a couple years ago, so yeah, there is a lot of buzz for this one to succeed and do better than the first film, and it does for the most part, but then there are times where it does suffer a lot from sequelitis, but there, like I said, there's still enough in this movie that I do like. It's definitely not as good as the first movie. I'll say this, though, the animation is once again top-notch. This is great Disney animation at its best, as they create a unique and visually impressive view of the internet, along with other things as well. Sometimes the internet stuff is kind of lame, bordering on emoji movie levels of, you know, the people who made the movie clearly have no idea how the internet works, but we'll touch on that later on here. The comedy is pretty good. I mean, the best scenes in the movie are the stuff they do making fun of Disney. When they get to the Oh My Disney website, and then when Penelope meets the Disney princesses, that's when the movie becomes is the funniest comedy in the movie, because Disney is smart enough to know it's been around long enough that they can take jabs at themselves, and boy, do they ever with that first scene with them in particular. The best joke is when the princesses are questioning Penelope on whether or not she's really a princess, and Jasmine from Aladdin just goes, "Do you have daddy issues?" While Penelope goes like, "I don't even have a mother," and half the princesses go like, "Neither do we," and they're just so giddy about it, just like, that's what I mean, a lot of that humor is really sharp and well done, and you really want to see a movie based off of that alone. They try. I mean, you know, we eventually got Once Upon a Studio, which was a short film, but remember that Wish originally was supposed to be a Disney crossover for the 100th anniversary, and then they just decided to just make it the short. And yeah, a movie like this makes you wish they would have gone with that route with Wish overall. I still like Wish, but yeah, it definitely that would have been the much better movie Wish would have been if that had gone that route. The voice work once again is great. John C. Reilly is great again as Ralph, and so is Silverman as Penelope. Taraji P. Henson's pretty good in this, and so is Gal Gadot. But there are definitely major flaws to the film. Mostly the story, which they kind of abandoned the main plot at the halfway point. I mean, the first half of the movie is centered around, you know, getting a new steering wheel for Sugar Rush off of eBay, and Penelope wants to stay and save her game. And then halfway through, it's like Penelope's just like, yeah, fuck Sugar Rush. I want to go stay in Slaughter Race with Wonder Woman. I mean, she literally just says, yeah, fuck everybody else in Sugar Rush, man. Like, her attitude essentially changes, and it's kind of unsettling, to be completely honest, but that's nothing compared to Ralph, who, oh my god, Ralph just becomes so detestable in this movie. Like, the message of the movie is really lazy. What was the overall message of the first film? Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you have to be a bad guy. You can still be a good person. What's the message of this movie? Stop being so clingy. I'm not even kidding. That's the literal joke of that's the literal point of the message here. Like, Ralph is really clinging about Vanellope because he hasn't had a real friend besides her, and he needs her about 90% of the time. And this problem gets bigger when she wants to stay in Slaughter Race, and it's such a lazily written forced message that they're trying to bring up here. And you had 6 years to develop the script, and that's the best you can come up with here. And like I said, it makes Ralph so detestable in this movie, where, his clinginess turns into, he does a thing where he tries to sabotage the Slaughter Race game, and it basically creates this big Ralph filled with like all these different clones and all that. And while it's cool to look at, but it's just like the overall message of the movie just kind of like it's just not there. It's just lazy. It just feels like, what are we even doing here? And it's just a thing where it's just kind of like, again, they've had 6 years to develop the script, and this is the best you can come up with. Not only have they had that 6 years, you can't tell me that the people who wrote this script know how the internet works, because there's a whole subplot where Ralph becomes a social media star in order to pay for the controller, and there's all these hate comments that people give on Ralph, and they're some of the cheapest, laziest comments that you will ever see. Like everyone knows that these hate comments, once you see them in this movie, that would never be like that in real life at all. That's like that simply because it's a Disney movie, it's rated PG, and not the PG from the 1980s where they were allowed to get a little bit rough. No, this is 2000s PG. This is the PG that gives the My Little Pony movie the PG rating. And it's just kind of like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it at all. Like, it's a good movie. It's disappointing because it's nowhere near as good as the first film was, but I still found things about it that worked. If the script was better handled and the overall message was better represented, I think you would have had something great here. But as far as it is, it's a good sequel, but it definitely is one that should have been a lot better, especially with what Disney had been doing with its animation department over the last decade. This really is not one of their better films overall. In fact, I would honestly say it's their worst film they had done. Probably when did Meet the Robinsons come out? In about near 20 years since the studio revitalized with John Lasseter at first, and then, after all the success they've had beforehand. But like, this is definitely one of their worst films, if not their worst films. It's just, you expect so much better from them overall with this, and just, it's kind of like, I mean, again, you expect so much better, and it's just not there. So not much more to say about that. That's Ralph Breaks the Internet. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is easily the better of the two sequels, and that is Michael B. Jordan once again returning as Adonis Creed in Creed 2.
Time, kid. Creed 2, rated PG-13.
This is, of course, the sequel to the breakout hit Creed, which was the spin-off of the Rocky franchise. And under the tutelage of Rocky Balboa, once again played by Stallone, heavyweight contender Adonis Creed, played again by Michael B. Jordan, faces off against Victor Drago, the son of Ivan Drago. And the Rocky franchise has certainly been on a roll. I mean, it was a rough roller coaster. The first film's a classic. Second one and the third one are good. 4 is stupid and goofy, but still fun. Rocky 5 is crap. Then Rocky Balboa, the franchise starts to get going again, and then Creed turns out to be one of the best movies of the year, and arguably the best movie in the entire franchise up to this point. So Creed 2 overall got me excited overall about what they could do, and I saw it early in the morning, and when I first saw it, and I liked it. I really did like it, but as the day went on, my thoughts came to be, I would say that I like it, but I didn't like it as much as the first Creed. But that being said, though, it has been 8 years since I've seen this film in full, and watching it again recently, I will freely admit that, yeah, this movie is still this movie is actually pretty good. I mean, it's not quite on the same wavelength as the first Creed film was, but it's still a really entertaining movie. I think it is a film that does work overall, even though it does kind of suffer from sequelitis like Ralph Breaks the Internet does, with a lot of this being very familiar to Rocky IV without the cartoonishly stupid elements of Rocky IV. Like, Stallone wanted to make a more serious Rocky IV with this movie, so he co-wrote the script for this one as well. The performances overall are really good. Michael B. Jordan is great as Creed. Tessa Thompson is great as Bianca. Sylvester Stallone, once again, giving it his all as Rocky Balboa. I mean, really, the best performance from this whole movie comes from, of all people, Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago. Keep in mind, Lundgren didn't speak much in Rocky 4, and here he's given a much bigger role, and he makes it count, man. He's amazing in this movie, and they do a great job of expanding his character's role in this role, and actually make his character someone that we can relate to. His son, played by Florian Montino, is really good too, and there's even a way, and they even found a way to bring Bridget Nielsen back for a cameo in this from the first film that is effectively done. If we're being honest, the best stuff in the movie centers around the stuff with the Dragos. Like, they aren't playing the typical antagonist. The film does a good job of making everybody's motivations feel neutral. You want Adonis to win the fight, of course, because he's the hero, but at the same time, you do kind of want to see Victor Drago win, seeing how the fight in Rocky IV really fucked up his dad's life in this. And I thought they did a good job of making Rocky Balboa feel conflicted in these situations, too, because you remember Rocky IV, he didn't throw in the towel at the time from the first fight between Creed and Drago, and that ended up killing Apollo Creed. And the film does a good job of not taking sides and showing that all the characters have problems to deal with. Even with Adonis, too, he has situations in this movie where he's got to get past some difficult challenges in his life that he has to face, and it does lead to some of the flaws of the film. For one thing, I really didn't think they were going to copy similar scenes in Rocky IV, for example. I didn't think there was actually going to be two fights in this, with the first fight taking place about 40 minutes in. I honestly thought that was the big fight in the movie. I had no idea that there was going to be two fights, and that one was going to be in the USA, and the one was going to be in Russia, like in Rocky IV. Stuff like that is all over this film. There's even kind of a cheesy moment in the second fight where they go to Russia, and they have Tessa Thompson's Bianca come out singing her husband into the ring. Remember, this isn't Russia. This isn't Russia. This is toy boat. This is in Russia, not America. I don't know. To me, it felt kind of forced, like they were trying to set this form of alliance and togetherness because all the characters from the movie are in the scene, and I'm just like, it feels forced, man. I mean, it's a scene that makes the James Brown Living in America scene from Rocky IV look better by comparison. I mean, definitely Creed 2 has flaws to it, but it is a movie that, looking back on it now, I do think it is a very good film. I think it's definitely up there with the other Creed films. Probably my least favorite of the three Creed films, because I think Creed 3 overall is the best one of the series, especially what Michael B. Jordan was able to do as a director in his first film. I mean, this one is still good enough to make it work on its own. They do a good enough job creating their own story to work with. The acting is once again great. The cinematography is nicely done. The fight scenes are spectacular to watch. It does enough to recommend it. It's a really good movie. I mean, if you like the first Creed, you're going to like this one. Even if you don't like it as much as that film, it's still a great movie, and one I do recommend checking out. Creed 2, definitely worth it in the end. All the Creed films are pretty good, but this one's probably my least favorite, but still really good. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Taron Egerton as Robin Hood.
Well, it's probably too late.
This is our shot.
Bring me on!
It's Robin Hood.
Rated PG-13 in theaters November 21st.
You know, because we were trying to do the King Arthur cinematic universe over at Warner Brothers and that didn't work, here's another classic story that is being made specifically not to tell a good story overall, but no, we want to make that Marvel money, baby. We want our own cinematic universe. I'm not even kidding you. Lionsgate was trying their hardest to make a live-action, a Robin Hood cinematic universe, starting with this. And when you watch the movie, you start to realize, wow, what a horrible idea that was. I'm glad that never happened. So this is a modern retelling of the Robin Hood legend and follows his training by John to steal this from the Sheriff of Nottingham. Little John is played here by Jamie Foxx, and Taron Egerton is, of course, Robin Hood, or Robin of Locksley. Returning home to England to learn the corrupt Sheriff of Nottingham, played by Ben Mendelsohn, has seized his family estate. Aristocrat Robin of Locksley joined forces with Friar Tuck and Little John, a fierce Arabian warrior who wants to put an end to the Crusades. Which, first of all, Jamie Foxx is an Arabian in this. I mean, that should have been your first warning sign right there. Armed with arrows and dubbed Robin Hood, Locksley leads a band of oppressed rebels in a daring plan to rob the sheriff of his money and take away his power. It's the same Robin Hood movie we've seen done to death before. I mean, Ridley Scott tried to do this at the beginning of the decade with Russell Crowe, and that didn't work. And somehow this movie is even worse because, again, it's trying to start a cinematic universe that is completely unnecessary. Like, what are they going to do with the Robin Hood storyline here? Are they going to give Friar Tuck his own movie? Are they going to give Little John his own movie? Are they going to give the Sheriff of Nottingham his own movie? Like, what sense would this make to anybody to do this? I mean, there's none. There's no guarantee this thing is going to make any money for you whatsoever. And wouldn't you know it, this was a gigantic flop for Lionsgate. It only brought back $86 million off of a $100 million budget, which proved Nobody wanted to see this movie. And, man, Taron Egerton, I love this guy. I think he's a great actor, but he's been stuck with some really bad movies, man. Eddie the Eagle, the second Kingsman movie wasn't all that great, and this one here, thank God the next movie he's going to be in is going to be easily his best movie in Rocket Man. I can't wait to finally get to that one to show you, for you people out there who still defend Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man is what Bohemian Rhapsody should have been. But we're still a couple months away from that here, but, I mean, I got nothing else for you here. Robin Hood, just stop. Stop trying to modernize this for a new generation. And stop trying to make everything into a cinematic universe, please. For the love of God. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to some good movies, finally. Let's go ahead and move on to... Well, technically we had Creed 2. That was a great film. But let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. And that is Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite.
I'm not quite following.
I apologize, Padoosh, what I'm thinking.
The Favorite. Rated R. In select theaters November 23rd.
A movie that I saw well late after the fact. I didn't see this until after I saw Poor Things, which should tell you how long it took me to finally get to this movie. And finally, when I saw it, it's just kind of like, yep, yeah, this is my kind of a movie here. You got the story of Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz as it's set in early 18th century Great Britain and examines the relationships between cousin Sarah Churchill, Duchess of Marlborough, and Abigail Hill, who will become Baroness Masham as the action progresses, as they vie to be court favorite of Anne, Queen of Great Britain. And again, kind of like with what made Poor Things such a great movie, as well as some of the other movies this guy's directed, like Begonia and Kinds of Kindness, especially with The Lobster. I mean, this is a movie that is so absurdist, so insane, so over the top. And you really look at this, and you look at Tony McNamara, who also wrote the script for this, as well as The Roses, which was, of course, the War of the Roses reboot. And it just goes to show you that, I mean, Yorgos Lanthimos should have been directing that movie. If he directed The Roses, it would have been a much better movie, probably on the same vein as The War of the Roses was, because The War of the Roses is one of the great dark comedies of all time. The Roses, it's fine, I guess, but it feels like a movie that plays it way too safe, and I think if you had a director like Lanthimos doing that, I think that movie would have been amazing, because after watching this, it's just kind of like, yeah, when it comes to dark comedy in modern times, this guy knows exactly what he's doing, because he's made a lot of really good dark comedies, great dark comedies, all featuring Emma Stone. I mean, this guy is a solid freaking director, man. And you can see why Olivia Colman won her Oscar for this role. I mean, you could definitely tell that she definitely gave no pun intended, the favorite performance of the group that was there. And again, kind of going back to what I said about the wife earlier, I'll never forget when the Oscar was announced for Olivia Colman, and Glenn Close had this look on her face, like, that bitch won. Like, pretend to be happy. like. Maybe not with the face I did, but you get the idea. Like, I've shown that clip before. If you want to go check it out, go check out my review of The Wife. But yeah, this movie overall was fun. It's a really fun, dark comedy. It works because it works to the strengths of Tony McNamara and Yorgos Lanthimos, and it features great performances all around from the main cast overall. Terrific film. Not much more to say about it. Definitely one worth checking out if you haven't seen it. The Favorite. It'll probably be your favorite overall. I don't think it's my favorite film from this director. I think Poor Things is great, but it's pretty good. It's really good. It's more than that. It's great, so... How many more things can I say about this movie? So let's go ahead and move on to, the holiday weekend is now over, so you know what that means. Dumping ground time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what studios are dumping out this week after Thanksgiving, starting off with our first film, and that is The Possession of Hannah Grace. I mean, come on. How stupid do you think we are? This isn't another exorcism story. Really? Because it certainly does look like another exorcism story. And, yeah, it's definitely another exorcism story. Because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be released the weekend after Thanksgiving. Just be honest with yourself here. So in this movie, stop me if you've heard this, because this is a revolutionary, brand new idea that has never been done before. I can't believe it took this movie this long to really do this, but a shuddering exorcism spins out of control and claims the life of a young girl. Months later, while working the night shift at the hospital morgue, Megan Reed, played by Shay Mitchell of Pretty Little Liars fame, receives a disfigured corpse. Alone and locked in the corridors of the cold basement, she starts to experience hair-raising visions, which leads her to suspect that the dead body delivered to that night is possessed by a ruthless evil entity. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, this movie is about as stupid as you can possibly imagine here. And yeah, it's a movie that is just by the numbers an exorcism movie. It's about by the numbers, stuck in a hot place in the middle of the night on your own type of a movie. This movie does nothing new or creative whatsoever, and just wastes your time, your patience, and your appeal for the actors here. Let's go with that. I don't know how I wanted to conclude that, but Shay Mitchell can be a really good actress. I've seen her in stuff that I did like, but she does pick a lot of really bad movies. She was in Mother's Day, and in this movie too. Stana Katic, of course, from Castle, is a great actress, but man, this movie just falls into the by-the-numbers exorcism movie that we've seen done to that before. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it in the end here. But hey, it's so cheap to make that of course it's going to make its money back, which it did. It grossed over $43 million worldwide, which only $14 million of that came here in the States. So apparently the rest of the world is stupid, and we're the ones that are just going like, hey, we got much better movies to go see out there, man. I mean, we could go see Ralph Breaks the Internet, man. But yeah, this is just bad. I mean, do I really need to say anything more about this movie? You've seen this movie done before so many times. We've talked about so many of these movies, and we're still going to get more of these movies as we go along here. It's just like, what do you even have to say about this movie? The Possession of Hannah Grace, just, what more do you got to say? So, let's go ahead and end the show on a much more positive note here. Let's take a look at one of the most inventive holiday comedies that you'll ever see. That is the movie that is actually not only a holiday comedy, but also a zombie movie, and also a musical. It's Anna and the Apocalypse. I mean, if that scene right there doesn't convince you that you should check this out, then I don't know what else to tell you, man. When the zombie apocalypse hits the sleepy town of Little Haven at Christmas, teenager Anna, played by Ella Hunt, and her high school friends have to fight, sing, and dance to survive with the undead horde all around them. Teaming up with best friends John, Anna has to fight her way through zombified snowmen, Santa's elves, and Christmas shoppers to get across town at the high school, where they'll be safe. But they'll soon discover that being a teenager is just as difficult as staying alive, even at the end of the world. So not only are you combining a zombie movie is a musical, but a John Hughes 1980s high school comedy, and that is even what the director of this said was one of the influences for this. Breakfast Club, not only that, but the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which you can definitely see in this, and West Side Story, but more importantly, Once More with Feeling, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode. I mean, you could definitely see it in this movie, and for a lot of relative unknown actors in this movie, they do a hell of a good job of making this work overall. I mean, this is a really fun movie. I mean, this is a movie that really is well done. The music overall is great. The performances are really good. The comedy is really good, too. I mean, this is a really great movie, man. One of the most underrated films you could possibly see. One of the most underrated Christmas movies ever made. It's a movie that, again, it's one of those movies I should spotlight for a Christmas in July video next year. And I hope I can remember to do that, but, yeah, it's a really good movie, and one you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it. Anna and the Apocalypse. If you haven't seen it, see it this Christmas, because it is definitely one that definitely is worth the watch. Anna and the Apocalypse. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies as we're coming to the end of 2018, and we're going to get there much faster because next time we meet, it's going to be yet another double weekend because December 7th does not have any major new releases. Only one, Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan in Mary Queen of Scots, but the real good stuff that comes out is on December 14th because not only do we have one of the best animated movies ever made, one of my favorite movies of all time coming out, and that is, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We're going to touch on that. We're going to take a look at Clint Eastwood's The Mule. We'll also take a look at some lesser films. Peter Jackson trying to create the next Lord of the Rings and doing a pretty bad job with it, even though he didn't direct this one, but he is one of the main producers behind it. Mortal Engines, we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at some bizarre ideas. Once Upon a Deadpool, and this is a movie where they re-released Deadpool 2, however, it's a PG-13 cut, and you think it's going to be like a TV version of it, but no. There is actually a lot of effort being put into this in the way that they do it, and I'll touch on that tomorrow because it's a very fascinating film in particular here. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like I really don't know how to feel about this, quite honestly. But we'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at Barry Jenkinson's follow-up to his Oscar-winning Moonlight, If Beale Street Could Talk, which features an Academy Award-winning performance by Regina King. Is that it? Do we have anything else? Anything else? It does not look like we do. So, what do we got? Mary Queen of Scots, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Mule, Mortal Engines, Once Upon a Deadpool, and If Beale Street Could Talk. So about 6 movies overall we'll take a look at as we're getting closer to ending 2018 and getting closer towards, we're getting close to the end of the show here, people. I mean, we're about a couple years away from coming to the end of it here, but yeah, we're moving pretty fast here, much faster than I thought it was going to here. So we might get this whole show done before Christmas at this point if I keep this pace up here, but I don't want to jinx myself here, but we'll see what happens as we go along here. But we still got a long way to go, though. We got to finish 2018 up, and we'll start that tomorrow. So, with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.